And I am live. That is pretty cool. Today is 26th of April 2026. Yep, 26. And Sunday. Let's just begin. And I have to say one thing, that I am happy this thing works. We are able to reach https walrus.codes, but what is this? We have to fix this thing. No, not secure. Why do we get this not secure thing here? It is your connection to this site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site, for example, password or credit cards, because it could be stolen by attackers you have chosen. To turn off security warnings for this site. Yes, I did, but why is this not secure even though the certificate is there? Details, certificate, validity, not before, not after. Wait, is this not? When do we get this error? Not secure error on HTTP, that is. Hello, shit. SSL certificate is cool. Validity. SSL is not valid, but it should be valid. I'm getting the certificate from Terraform. Certificate here, an account is being created, and then a certificate is there for walrus.codes, SHA, walrus, and backend SHA, walrus.codes. Yep, it is a free certificate. And hello, Ayushbhai. Site is not secure. I have an HTTPS site and I am getting not secure connection error on it, even though the certificate does exist on the site and is reaching the browser. Certificate is here. Yep, certificate is here. Walrus.codes, that is, yep, cool. Issued by Let's Encrypt. Yes, that is correct. Organization or certificate and public key, that is also correct. And expiry date is also correct. July. This will expire in July and was created yesterday, 25th of April. So shit, what is the problem? A few common reasons why. Mixed content. Most common, your page loads resources, images, script over HTTP instead of HTTPS. The browser blocks or warns about these even if the page itself is HTTPS. Okay, that might be it. That might actually be it. That might be it. That is, even though this whole JavaScript that we got, it is over HTTPS, but it is fetching the image and these like different icons and stuff, that is coming over HTTP. So that might be it. Certificate was created, but I guess not linked to your load balancer. Certificate is being linked. That is why I'm getting it here. I wouldn't be getting it otherwise, I think. And we are reaching this site, this server, listening on port 443, and as a result we are putting out this index.html. That should be fine. And one is for sha.walrus.codes. And it is also not secure. It was the server could not prove that it is char.walrus.codes. Its security certificate is not trusted by your computer's operating system. This may be caused by a misconfiguration or attacker intercepting your connection. Okay, and this is the error. Why the server the certificate is reaching, and also verify the port if you have done routing properly or not. Routing is handled by this. Okay, should make sense, I guess, because HTTP is localhost. This is for backend. This is the place that we are reaching, char.walrus.codes. We are picking up the right certificate. Cool. And we are also giving in the key. So this should be working. And the files which must be sent is this index.html. So this should not be an error. This is the incomplete certificate chain problem. The certificate exists, but the browser cannot trust it because the intermediate CA certificates are being served. Okay, we need some more certificates. Confirm the diagnosis. OpenSSL, how to fix OpenSSL, S client connect char.walrus.codes at this port, server name char. Look for the output, something like this. Is this a command I have to run locally? Okay, cool. This thing starts a SSL connection as a client to this thing where the name should be this, I guess. Verify error number. Look for something like error. When there is no error on this. Verify error number 20, unable to get local issuer certificate. Issuer certificate should be there. Okay. Nginx shit. Okay. Let's encrypt, not with certbot, but edit. Let's encrypt with Terraform. Actually using the TLS provider ACME. Yep, ACME is the one that we are using. In your Nginx configuration, find your SSL block and check which file you are using. I am using the correct file. Wrong path. Only your certificate SSL certificate. Okay, if I'm just giving the certificate, then it is wrong. But if I'm giving the certificate plus intermediaries, intermediates, whatever the intermediates are, then it is cool. And the intermediate is this, the certificate and the issuer PEM key, which is what we are doing. Yep. Files. Content is joining these two. The certificate PEM and the issuer key. The certificate is okay. Terraform form is, yep, concatenating these two things correctly. We need the certificate and the issuer's PEM key into a full chain. The issue is almost certainly in your Nginx configuration. It is pointing to the wrong file. No, it is not pointing to the wrong file. Nginx configuration is cool. Here, server name this SSL certificate, SSL SHA walrus.codes.cert. It is cool. It is cool. Maybe there might be some other problem. Tmux server Tmux new name SHA. Wait, how do we create a new panel? Pane. Wait, hello. Check DNS and subdomain should be linked to the chain of the certificates, not individual SSL certificates. Right? Should be linked to the chain of certificates. To the chain of certificates. What do you mean by that? Chain DNS is just domain name to IP address. It does not have the certificate. Subdomains, yep, same thing. Domains are not linked to certificates. Yep, they are not, like, as far as I know. Percentage. Nginx configuration. Walrus.codes is this. And then key is just the private key. Okay, the problem might be with the key. Begin certificate Nginx key. Full chain, yep, full chain. Path to private key.pem, and Claude is thinking quite a bit. Can you share your Nginx certificate line? That is almost certainly where the mismatch is. No, the Nginx configuration is cool. /etc certs sha.walrus.codes. Maybe we have to destroy everything and recreate them individually. I mean, again, because there might be a difference between the certificates which are on the AWS instance and the latest certificate which belong to the domain. Maybe, I guess, in that case, this is cool. This is cool. Terraform destroy everything. Shit. Name.com API token is needed for the destroy part. Initial.sh. No. env.sh and dot git ignore env.sh. Yep, cool. And env.sh, here we need terraform var namecom username equals something, here var namecom API token equals something, df var, I think we need AWS certificate, private key SSH, public key. These two things are needed. Private key SSH and SSH public key. Equals something, the username is jrag137@gmail.com, token I would have to see, public key for this public key and aws.pub, this is the public key. Cool. Okay, and now the token and the private key, which I will have to hide my screen for. Wait, I will hide my screen to get the name.com token, name.com, login using Google, and also my private key, AWS. Okay, and you cannot see, yep, you cannot see anything. Cool, that is cool. Otherwise it would be not cool. Manage tokens. Yep, and I have the token. Cool. Bash env dot and just one more second. Cool. And now you can see the screen. Terraform destroy, and shit, there is a lock. Terraform force unlock, and the ID of the lock is this. Yep, Terraform destroy, now it should work. And why is it asking for name.com API token? Shit, like, why is it asking for the keys? I will have to hide my screen again. ZSH env.sh. Okay, and terraform destroy. We might see a log. We don't see a log, and shit, it is still asking for the variables. Wait a minute. Let me env.sh. Shit, export. I have to say export. Yep. env.sh. Export. Cool. ZSH env.sh. Echo. Wait. Now you can see the screen. Good. Echo. If var name.com username. Okay, that is like correct, but what is the value of this variable? And that is the correct value. Okay, terraform destroy. There might be a log. There is a log. Terraform force and log. This. Yep. Terraform destroy and name.com username. tf var name.com username. It should be picked up by Terraform, but it is not being picked up by Terraform. Name.com username. Why is Terraform asking for these variables? This is supposed to be fixing the bug in production, but yep, I guess we can call this also a bug in production. The name of the variables is also correct. Cool. This is public key, private SSH key, tf underscore var underscore this thing, and echo tf var name com username, and it is there. So why is Terraform not picking these things? tf var name com username. That is the same thing. tf var underscore name com username. So why is name.com not picking them up? Terraform destroy would not work. Let's see. Yep, there is a log. Terraform force unlock ID is this. Yep, and echo tf var name.com username is an environment variable. So why is Terraform not picking this up? tf var, the name is like exactly correct. You can even see the public ID tf var underscore name.com ssh public key, like this whole thing, and the public key is there. Cool. But why is Terraform asking for them? Terraform plan, and shit, it is asking for these values. Why is Terraform asking for these values? Terraform should be picking up these values from the environment variable. Does not find. Yep, underscore tf underscore var prefix missing this. Yep, Terraform is supposed to be automatically pick up the environment variables which begin with this prefix, db password, but case sensitive. Ensure the case matches exactly some on some systems. Okay, case is also correct. Here the name is name com underscore API token. Well, I cannot print the token, but I can print underscore SSH public key var SSH public key, which is the exact value that we are using in GitHub. Here it works on GitHub, and echo name com username is also there. Terraform init, and maybe now there would be a lock. Now there is a lock. Terraform force unlock this ID. Yep. Terraform init, and Terraform plan. It is asking for the variable. Cool. Yep. This thing should not be asking for variables. Local files would be created, but shit, this thing should not be asking for variables. This would have created 6 sensitive files. AWS key pair, and would have restarted the AWS instance. No, would have gotten a new certificate. Environment variables are not being picked up by Terraform. Status. Environment variables are not being picked up by Terraform. What we can do right now, like in a hackish way, is to provide the values right here. Default value is jrag137@gmail.com, and the default value for this would be, I would hide my screen when I'm entering it. Default value for this would be something, and then default value for this would be something. aws.pub, this is cool. Default value for public key, and I will get the default value for the private AWS key, and name.com token. I will hide my screen for that. cd chess terraform and environment.sh. One minute. Cool, I guess it is cool. To give multi-line strings in Terraform. Shit, how to give if multi-line strings in Terraform, I will like unhide my screen in a minute. Yes, I do think, but I have to work hard for reaching a rating of 2000, which I'm not working for right now. EUT minus EUT. Thing is still also doesn't. Okay, cool, cool, cool. One second, yes. I'm just putting the private keys there, and now they are there. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, the private keys are there. Let me unhide my screen. Cool. And are you targeting for controls? No, I'm not targeting for controls. They are just like, no. You need a lot of motivation for that. I don't have that. Terraform plan. I guess we'll see a lock. Terraform destroy. Oh shit, we don't see a lock. Cool, cool, cool. Everything is working. This is destroying everything. Yep, destroy everything. Okay, destruction is happening. Which college? Tier 3 in Meerut. Mm, okay, okay, okay. And why are we doing this? Because on the website we are getting this, that we are able to connect to the website using our HTTPS connection, but the connection is insecure somehow. And my prediction, my theory is that we do have the certificate, but the certificate is old and not the latest one. So destroying everything and then recreating would fix things, hopefully. And everything is destroyed now. Just in case, let's destroy again. Cool. And now I will hide the tokens from the file itself. And enter n variables.df. Terraform was not picking up variables from the environment, so I added the variables, the environment variables, or the variables which were needed by Terraform in the file itself. Let me show you now. I have removed the sensitive ones. Cool. So if there is a variable whose value Terraform does not know, it will pick it up from the environment, but it was not picking them up, so I had to add the variables right here in the file itself. Now I have removed them, so that is pretty cool. What is the difference? Git diff. Okay, sure. Yes, I would remove this, no problem. And yep, this is also cool. This is also cool, no problem with this. Cd terraform and variables.tf. Remove this line. Cool. Git add, git commit, git push origin main. Cool. That will start a CI/CD pipeline. Here it is running. This will build the new images. Black screen. Shit. Okay. Now good. Okay. Cool. 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 I thought you were just seeing my face. Okay. Push images. Images are pushing. Shit. Now, hello. By the way, arranged. Yesterday the problem was we were not able to send the certificate on the container which was running nginx. We are able to send the certificates there, but the certificate is not somehow valid. The browser who is receiving, like this browser Brave, who is receiving the certificate, is not able to verify that the server who is claiming that he is char.walrus.codes, the domain name belongs to it, the certificate is the owner of the certificate. The server is not able to verify that yes, I am the owner of this certificate, and I have not just copied this certificate from the internet. So given the URL, URL is now http //sch walrus.codes. This is the one, and it will not work right now because because I just did terraform destroy, everything is destroyed. So in the next step, which is about to start here, pull and run, this will create the instance and do everything, set up everything, and this will take a little bit of time because wait, and yes, shit, this will fail because Terraform will create the instance and GitHub, this workflow will move on to the next step. But when the next step starts, before that there have to be some things which need to be installed on the instance which was just created by Terraform, and that is Docker has to be installed on this instance, and that takes some time. But before that is completed, this SSH step will start, and therefore this won't be able to run because Docker is not there, and this step expects Docker to be there. So this will fail, but that is fine, we can just restart. Shit, you will not be able to make the cost super high. Hey, peace out. Console home, I think I have passkey. Yep, this is creating stuff. This step specifically takes some time, putting the files. At $111, that is a lot of money. Root user login not good. Mega. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I think I do have a separate user, IAM. The IAM full form, AWS Identity and Access Management. Here I think I have created a user which I have created a user which I have given to Terraform to make changes. How do I log in as this user? Password, age, access key. Shit, this might be sensitive. 6 minutes ago, because 6 minutes ago Terraform destroyed everything using this user. And I hope that these things are not sensitive. These are the permissions: full EC2 permission, full S3 access, full dynamic database, and EC2 permission is needed to create the new instance. S3 permission is needed to create a new bucket to be used by Terraform, and also, and on the bucket, S3 bucket, what is being stored on the S3 bucket, the log files which are created by Terraform are being stored there, so that the GitHub workflow which is running Terraform every time that a commit is being made is in sync with the local Terraform instance, so that if an instance already is created, when we do Terraform init on the GitHub workflow, Terraform knows that that our instance has already been created, which simply just means these files, Terraform.if state, this file is stored in this bucket, and whenever Terraform runs on GitHub workflow. It knows what is already created. So yeah, it does not create a new instance every time a commit is made. Cool, cool. This is here to create a new key. And I guess I can just remove this. It wouldn't matter. No, it is not me. You also get this much credit. Anyone gets this much credit. People configure IAM pretty badly. A lot of time I found a lot of access because of that. Not full access is needed, by the way. Yep. Creation of EC2, deletion of EC2, and yes, makes sense. Makes sense. Is there rating for coding as well? Rating for coding? I guess it depends on the projects that you are making. Wait, shade. Okay. He here is referring to Code Forces. There is this website called Code Forces on which you go, and there are contests on this website, and based on your performance on those contests, your rating either goes up or goes down. And how much rating goes up or down depends on how you perform. It is on you. And yep, this is just like one thing about Code Forces, that it never loads up at time. Their servers are always down. And also, this is Russian website. My rating right now is this much, and depending on your performance, your rating goes up and down. And there is, where is tourist? He is supposed to be, or he is like Magnus Carlsen in this Code Forces thing. Oh shit, it is working. Yep, and this is the thing that we have to fix. What is the exact problem? Cert authority invalid. Expires, current date is this. Expires on is like, yes, not yet expired. Wait, why? PEM encoded chain. Beginning of the certificate, end of the certificate, beginning of the certificate, MIIFS, MIFL, MIIFM. Okay, all three are different. Why are there three certificates? Shit, why are there three certificates? That does not make sense. Terraform plan. Shit. Why are there three certificates? Because there should not be three certificates. I am only adding the certificate and the issuer's public key there. Not three, maybe. Nope. The server would not send its private key like this to anyone. From unknown log. SCST. What is the exact error? For example, passwords, all this shit. Do not enter sensitive information here just yet. For me? Wait, what do you mean? You already are a hacker. Shit, you already are a hacker. It might be you who's doing all this. Let me make your cloud cost super expensive. You won't be able to. Okay, and do a DDoS. That would be cool. Yes, Code Force is up. He is tourist. He is Magnus Carlsen in competitive programming. Look at his graph. His rating went up. I think if you ever suffer from a DDoS attack, you are supposed to go to Cloudflare, and Cloudflare does something. I don't know what. Yes, this thing, under attack. Click here, and like something happens. I don't know what. That is just too much dark mode, and that is unbearable. Certificate is not verified. Okay, okay. What could be wrong? Advanced. Proceed, proceed, proceed. And I guess we won't even. Where is the request going console? Yep, the request is going to localhost HTTP, which is totally wrong. Course, library, network. Here, WS is fine, protocol, and HTTP. Yes, should be fine. I hope. And this is the base URL, and it should not be localhost. It should be backend sha.walrus.codes. Backend sha.walrus.codes. There are multiple problems. One is on the front end. Front end is not using the latest, you could say, the correct IP address, which is supposed to be backend sha.walrus.codes. It is using localhost, but the backend is not running locally. So, yep, don't send requests on localhost. And the second is about the certificate. Certificate. Hello, moderator, bro. Will you go with me today to the gym, Adit bhai? I will defeat Parvai in bench press today. Yo, thank you for not DDoSing me after saying that you will DDoS me. That is good. Cloudflare will find me and beat my ass. Shit, okay, that would be sad. For me, the login doesn't even show a place to enter username and password. And why am I getting auto redirected to login? Yes, because you are not logged in. That is why you are getting auto redirected to login. You cannot go anywhere else. Since while you are not logged in. No, I will be benching for the first time. But my friend with whom I have this challenge, you could say, or competition, he goes to gym every day. Yep, and this will be a challenge. Wait, now it is okay. How do I fix this? Yep, your connection is not private. The error indicates your browser cannot verify the SSL for walrus.codes, meaning the connection isn't encrypted and data could be stolen. Fixes include checking your device's date and time. This means invalid authority. Your browser does not trust the entity that issued the website's certificate. It is Let's Encrypt. Let's Encrypt is a cool authority. Site issue. The site walrus.codes may have a misconfigured. Let's see. Yep, cool. Shit is not secure. Not secure. But I don't get how can this be not secure? when going to an HTTP site, the browser and the server settle upon an encryption algo and a key for encryption and decryption. But the browser also has to verify that the certificate which is sent by the server actually belongs to the server. For this, the browser encrypts some data using the public key provided by the certificate and sends that to the server. And if the server is able to decrypt that, if the server is able to decrypt it and send back the undecrypted key, decrypted data, the browser can be assured that the certificate belongs to the server, since it wouldn't have been able to decrypt the data otherwise. And after this verification, they settle upon an algo and a key for the rest of the communication, and in this pipeline, which step is missing when I get this error. And what error is this? What is missing? CA trust verification. Your understanding of TLS is mostly right, but there is actually a step before the public key challenge you describe that is failing here. Okay, the full chain. What you are missing: when a server sends its certificate, the browser doesn't just check can the server decrypt. With this key, it asks, should I trust the certificate at all? It makes sense. The certificates aren't self-validating. Anyone can generate a certificate claiming to be Walrus codes, so the browser needs a trusted third party to vouch for it. This is a certificate authority, CA, which is in this case Let's Encrypt root CA. Pre-installed on your OS or browser. Intermediate CA signed by root CA. Walrus.code signed by intermediate CA. Okay. The browser walks up this chain verifying each signature until it hits a root CA it literally trusts. If it cannot, the whole thing is rejected before the public key challenge even happens. What this error cert authority invalid specifically means is the certificate chain broke. Common reasons is self-signed cert. The certificate signed its own certificate, no CA vouched for it. We do have a CA. Maybe we are not generating the final certificate correctly. The final certificate is supposed to be the certificate and the issuer PEM, and I think there is no problem with this. This is like literally fine. We can SSH into the machine, but shit, the IP changed. We can look up the new IP. And what a math, I am getting auto redirected to login because I'm not logged in like I never knew. Shit. What is your lead code? I guess I will have to see world's leading online programming triple dot. I'm logged in. Cool, cool, cool. Shit, I'm not logged in. I do not remember my ID password. I will have to do forgot password, which I'll do later. Mm, wait. We want to SSH into the machine, AWS machine, and verify that the certificate which is there is legit. I guess you can use the domain name instead of the actual IP. Or maybe not. Let's use the actual IP. Is this and cool. etc SL ls cd certs cat walrus dot codes dot crt. Like, I guess this is totally fine. Begin certificate, end certificate, and this must be the issuer PEM which we are adding later. Wait. Yep, these two things are different. This says MIIFS, MIIFH. Different, totally different things. This is my cert file, and hopefully this does not go outside the context window. Looking at your cert file, the problem is immediately obvious. Okay, it's a let's encrypt staging certificate. See this right in the issuer files. Let's encrypt has two environments. Issuer fields. Staging, there are two kinds of certificates: staging certificate and production certificate. The staging certificate is intentionally not in any browser's trust store. Oh, I guess we are getting a certificate, but we are getting a certificate for testing purposes and not for production level thing, and that is why we are getting error. Shit. So we need to get a real certificate. Which we have to say here. There has to be some option that we have to give here. ACME perform provider. We can see here, check Discord. Is that your wait? Okay, wait. Do I want to open Discord? Okay, fine. Wait, shit, that might be me. Yep, like this TP Gintama. Yes, that is me. But I'm not logged in. That is very bad. 59% acceptance rate. Resources certificate. What are the things that we can give here? Certificate, common, alternative names, nope. Provider, route 53, nope. Staging and production. ACM is staging. Okay, shit, there are server URL. ACM is server URL. Shit. ACME URL inside variables, and we are using the staging URL. Okay, that makes sense. That makes total sense. We are using a staging URL. We should not be using the staging URL. We want to use a real URL. Let's encrypt. There might be a standard way of finding out. Encrypt ACME production server URL. Okay, this. So let's encrypt ACME v2 production server URL. Entry point is this. We just have to change this. Okay. And the difference is, okay, shit, the difference is just this. Staging v2. Cool. Cool. Now this should work. Terraform.plan. Nope. Is there anything crazy? No. Everything is fine. Git push or git commit, git push origin main. That will trigger a GitHub action. And now you have 2 followers on lead code. Okay, let's go. I'm gaining popularity, unfathomable rate. Push images. Okay, and what was the problem? Why we were getting this? We were getting this because even though we did have a real legit certificate, it was created for playing purposes. The certificate was created for local environment and not for real environments. Cool. But now it is fine. But now we are getting a certificate which is for production environments, and that is cool. I have some other questions, and that is, when a server is running on localhost 3000 and the front end sends a request to localhost to http //localhost 3000, what or how is it different from sending request to https //localhost 3000? Because port is 3000. Here is the difference. Okay, transport plain text. This is encrypted. Who is doing the encryption? Even on localhost, certificate needed. Certificate is needed here even on localhost when we do https. And this is the place where we use a staging certificate, I think. Browser blocks mixed content. Nope. Yep. Available service secure cookie. The practical difference for your case is if your front end is served over HTTPS, it makes a request to HTTP. The browser will block it as mixed content. Makes sense. You would need to either use HTTPS localhost 3000, which requires a self-signed certificate on backend, or use a reverse proxy nginx that terminates TLS and forwards to which is what we are doing. Okay, shit. So using a reverse proxy is a legit option that we could choose. That is cool. That is cool. That is cool. The most common setup is proxy bus. Use Nginx. Cool. But then Nginx would need the certificate. Even the local host Nginx would need the certificate. Hmm, 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 hmm. Nginx would need a local certificate. And shit, this thing failed. That is crazy. There is a lock. Ah, shit, we have to fix the lock. Why is there a lock? Force unlock this and yep, please unlock. Cool. And rerun this job. Yep, rerun. Nope. Okay, Nginx uses your real certificate, walrus.codes, cert for external HTTPS connection internally. Then the connection from Nginx to your app is just plain HTTP on localhost, so no certificate is needed there at all. No, I meant when Nginx is running locally. In dev env locally, then sending. It said we cannot send a request on localhost. Then no, we can send a request on localhost port like 3000 something with HTTPS prefix from front end to yes // localhost 3000 where Nginx is running locally. A certificate is needed. And shit, this thing failed again. Error 400. No account exists with this provided key. So an account needs to be created. Therefore, this step should run again. And shit, I guess we will have to destroy everything and rerun everything again. And for that, we have to, yep, get the environment variables again here in the environment. Shit. Export tf var tf variable name com underscore username equals jirag137@gmail.com and export. Share. What is that error? Name com password. Nope. Name com API token. And then export. What is that error? tf var variable get up. Stop. These are the variables which need to be there in the environment. Namecom API token already there. Namecom private key sh would be equal to something. and then var ssh public key. You can see the ssh public key, no problem with that. But for the API token, I will have to hide my screen, and also for the SSH key, I will have to hide my screen. Name com API dashboard. Manage API tokens on name.com. Base. Cool. Now you can see the screen. Cool. ZSH env dot sh, and if we do echo tf, and hopefully tfr name.com, okay, and hopefully Terraform will pick up these variables this time, like unlike the last time. Destroy. Name.com is not picking up the variables. Name.com is not picking up the Terraform is not picking up the variable. Which means, like the last time, I would have to put these variables inside the file itself, right here. Name.com username default is jrag137@gmail.com. API token is going to be a single line thing. Default equals private key, and this is going to be multi-line. Default equals, I think if we do this, my key and my key, then write anything that would just go inside this default. Cool. And then here default public key, you can see the public key, no problem with that. Cool. Now the private key has to come here, and name.com API token has to come here. I will hide my screen for that. Shit. This. Cool. AWS. Cool. And the name.com token. Yes. This shit, I messed up with the name.com token. Cool. Okay. So the things, the variables which are needed by name.com or by Terraform are there in the file itself. So if we do Terraform destroy, this will first of all give us an error because there might be a lock. Yep, there is a lock. We have to destroy the lock. Force unlock. And we got this lock because there was a Terraform process running which got interrupted in the middle of running. Okay, cool. This will destroy everything. And shit. Makes sense. We have to we changed the URL for the certificate authority this is the new URL for the certificate authority, and while we are destroying, we have to use the last previous URL, but I do not want to open my variables file here because it has sensitive information. So I will hide my screen once again. Well, yep, good thing I hid my screen. Guess we just have to say staging. Cool. Okay. And this might still be locked. Okay, and this is not locked. Cool. So now this will destroy everything. Cool. Also the certificate account, I guess. Yep, destroy everything. Cool. It is destroying everything. Still destroying the internet gateway. And shit, like yesterday, this thing alone took like 7 minutes. And at the end, we had to manually destroy the internet gateway. Okay, destruction complete. Cool. We are now destroying the certificate, and cool, certificate was also destroyed. Now we can go and change variables.tf, and I hope you don't see the sensitive information, and you do not see the sensitive information. Sensitive information is like just below this point. I will hide my screen again, and all I have to do is remove this staging part from this URL, and everything would be cool. Everything is cool. And before pushing this, I would like to remove all the sensitive keys that I added. Cool, and cool. Everything that is sensitive is removed, and the URL is also changed from staging. Cool. And shit, there is literally nothing to push. Okay, cool. So we can just rerun this job and we would be happy. This job rerun. Yep, I guess it would be cool. It would be good. There should not be any error here this time. ACME. Yep, ACME is there. Shit, there might be a lock. Okay, there is no lock. Cool. We will create a new certificate with ACME registration creating, and were we able to create an ACME certificate? ACME certification, creating ACME certification. Creating. Okay, shit, it is just directly creating the certificates and not an account. Okay, certificate is creating. We can do race till then. Okay. Shit. Okay, that is very bad. It, 74 not too good. Very cool. We are still making the certificate, and the quote was pretty cool. It was similar to what Tolstoy said about sadness. Every family is same in happiness, but every family has its own sadness. That is what Tolstoy said. He was spot on, I guess. Okay, okay. We have done SSH into the machine, and I guess this time this would work. This time, yep. I have hopes. High hopes. We were able to put the certificate onto the instance, which we are able to do still now. We have changed the certificate from like development certificate to an actual production level certificate. So yep, everything should be cool. Everything should be cool. There should not be any errors this time around, and we should be able to go to schech.walrus.codes, and when we are able to get to this website properly, okay, okay, shit. The DNS record. This might be pointing to the old DNS record because of DNS cache on the computer. Wait, where am I going? I need to get the latest IP address. And we will go there manually. This is the latest IP address. Cool. And because we are using the IP address and not yep, and not walrus.codes. Let's go to walrus.codes. How to clean DNS cache on Mac. Enter this command, this random command from the internet. Okay. Walrus.codes. Shit, still nothing. Walrus.codes. Okay, cool. Not secure. Yep. We are still getting this not secure message. Why are we still getting the not secure message? Site cannot be reached. Lazy. Walrus.codes and allow and shit. Connection is secure here. Connection is secure. Why is the connection non-secure here? Hey, connection is secure. Okay, something is wrong with the DNS records. Sudo I docker ps, which processes are running on Docker, Nginx production, TUI, and backend. All of these are running. Cool. And these have been up, which is even cooler. Okay. Walrus.codes. Okay. Char.walrus.codes. Site does not support a secure connection. Continue to the site. And cool. Okay. We are able to establish a secure connection with the front end, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. codes. We are getting insecure connection here, and I suppose the reason is some cache related thing. Cool, but cool. Cool. Okay. Now we can actually begin to make changes in the code, and not just in the DevOps things, but in the code. And before that, there are a few changes I would like to make in this script. We do not want about some networking things. We do not want to expose a port. We don't. Shit. Yep. We do not want to expose any port of the backend. Cool, which we don't expose. So that is pretty cool. Network SHA, and this is also connected to the same network SHA. And how does the front end communicate to the backend using the URL for the backend? Cool, which is being served by the Nginx reverse proxy. Cool. Change this to HTTP. Backend is the name of the container which you want to reach. Cool. And it is running on port 222. That is also cool. Cool. For the Go UI, it is establishing a WebSocket connection, and nothing else. From the environment, environment variables. But why I guess we don't need environment variable because the container, wait, here backend URL equals backend URL, and backend URL is this. Here backend URL is backend URL, which is wrong. Makes sense. We can go to apps and manually here say backend. I think we can say backend. Yes, I think we can say backend here, because the TUI and the backend are connected through a Docker network. So we can say backend. TUI can talk to backend using this URL, and frontend should also be able to talk to the backend, but it is not able to talk to the backend. It is always getting this development URL. Sadaharu backend API URL localhost. It should be getting in production this one. Sadaharu API URL backend shard or forest. Okay, why is there this problem? We go package.json build production one run build production, that would build this app for production. If we go to cd apps frontends, cd apps frontend, distribution assets, this does have the correct URL, which is cool. This does have the correct URL. So why are we not getting this URL here in this part? Build docker build backend latest cool target is nginx production. Nginx production is the target. Which, if we look at the docker file, nginx production, this is the thing that we are building, and this thing depends on front-end production, and front-end production runs this one run build production. So let's see. Wait, now we are, since we are actually moving on to some changes which are different from CI/CD, we are moving on to changes in the code. So we would like to squash some commits. Git no pager log graph one line, so the last 10 commits, shit, 15 commits, shit, everything is fixed CI/CD. Last 20 commits, okay, 30 commits, okay. We will Terraform CA DNS update. CD works with Terraform. CD works with Terraform. CD. Okay, yep, we will squash everything till this commit, which is head minus 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I guess we can just give the direct address of this commit. Git rebase interacted this. Cannot rebase, your index contains uncommitted. Or we can git restore staged git dash okay, and git rebase to this thing in an interactive mode, okay, and accept the first commit. Make all of these accept the first commit, make all of these squash, okay, and the name would be fix cd Terraform works for And telecom works with HTTPS. Okay, and okay, share. There is a dollar sign. Dollar means we are inside rebase or something. Get status, get stash pop, get add, get commit m fix production networking, get push origin main and force. Yep, we will have to use force to push this. Cool, and hopefully this didn't like destroy everything that we have been building. Hello, Dom DMK. And wait, shit, you are still a moderator on your this account since you have multiple accounts. 109 comments. Let's go. Okay, there are two branches, main and production. This is working. Building and pushing images, and it has been like 3 months working on the same thing. Yes, but that is fine. First time. Cool. So this is building the new images with the updated networking settings, you could say. This work, this should work, this should actually work. What we are trying to fix now, and also yes, hello modular or DOM DMK, you can right now if you want go to ach.walrus.codes and you will be greeted with HTTPS, which is pretty cool. Connection is secure, and this is the certificate. So that is like pretty cool. HTTPS connection, and I guess you can also go to walrus.codes. That would also work. That also works. Cool. HTTPS, but I guess it will not work here. It will not work here because of DNS cache or something. So walrus.codes. Yep, this says, I don't know why it is saying unsecure connection on my browser, but if I go to like incognito mode and go to the same website, it does not work. It does not work. Wait, did something break because of this pull request? Maybe. We are SSHing into the machine. Pulling down the new images. Wait. There's just some problem with this sha.walrus.codes URL. Yep, it is nice, pretty nice, pretty nice. Do you know? Rugged phone? No. Rugged phones. Exception. Wait, so like these are very durable phones. Rugged phones. Is rugged a company or a category of phones like flip phones? Shit, military grade phones. Okay, you want to buy one since you might be getting into fights. Okay, now if we do SSH, shit, SSH, shit. Shit, could not resolve host name. Name.com host name could not be resolved. Why? DNS records. We are not creating a host name for this. Makes sense. We have to update our Terraform configuration for this. Shade DNS record. Add one more record of type A for ty.walrus.codes, and backend host is no shit, yes, it has to be walrus.codes, and here we have to say ty. Makes sense. Type record A, and yep, cool. Git commit DNS record for ty. Git push origin main force. We didn't need force there, but okay. And I guess if we just directly SSH onto this, cool, enter, cool. And if I press enter on something, connection closed by remote host. Why this SSH, not this? Here SSH onto this place with this URL. Sudo I docker ps, all the docker things which are running, docker logs tui. This is the error. TCP connection to this connection refused. Why was the connection refused? We tried to go to backend. Okay, so this should have worked. Backend. This should have worked. Rugged phones. Batteries last for 6 months. Wait, shit, that is messed up. Rugged phones are phones made for apocalyptic scenarios. Okay, for 6 months there is projector inside, huge flashlight, durability is actually insane, like woodland shoes. There was something, yes, there was something at the White House. Easy stuff is happening. They are like celebrating a bit too much. Connection refused. Docker exec interactive TTY with TUI sh. Nothing. Cool. Okay, so we are able to reach backend, but we are able to reach the backend. That is pretty cool. How to send a request from terminal, sending HTTP request curl using curl. Let's send curl HTTP :/ backend / curl not found. That is messed up. There is also no package manager in this. Okay. Install curl and go help find image. Install curl. Okay. Port 80? Shit, no, we do not want to go to port 80. We want to go to port 2222. Error, true, something broke. Shit, Okay, we are able to reach the backend now. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. We have to update the URL. Wait, shit. One more time. SSH. I would like to SSH. Sudo I docker exec go into tty curl WebSocket / backend do connection refused upgrade. Refused is crazy. Logs for the TUI. Okay, and curl WebSocket / backend colon 1222 / game / anonymous run color equals random and where is that and increment equals 0 and time equals 6000000. Connection refused. That is fine. We just have to say here to do. Good. That should work. Hopefully that should work. DNS record for TUI updated backend URL for TUI. Okay, not force. I would not like to use force. Yep. How can they be so incompetent, bro? And let some. I think the firewalls outside the White House. Like, no, I will have to see. Someone getting into the White House is actually crazy. Was outside the White House or inside? Outside the ballroom in the lobby area of Washington Hilton Hotel, where the White House. Wait, it was not even in the White House, not inside the White House itself. A gunman charged with a security checkpoint, and was immediately. Okay, shit. So the shooting was at a security checkpoint at a hotel, not inside the White House. Okay, inside the White House would have been actually nuts, like actually pretty crazy. Okay, actions. This one failed. Yep. Because there was a lock. Yep. And now it would be cool. Now it would be cool, I guess. Yep. Get the latest images and run the latest images, and we would be able to SSH into walrus.codes and also ty.walrus.codes. There is still a lock. Wait, no. Name shade. We created a new DNS record. of this thing should be different, should be like PUI or something. Perform DNS record name it push origin main but not force. Cool. This one would run hopefully without any problems. DevOps is crazy. Yep, DevOps is easy. We can do a little bit of monkey typing testing in the middle. Pushing layers. Cool. Type eraser is loading. Okay, it is pretty slow. Looking for operands in 9 seconds. Building, pushing. Okay. Shit. Okay, that was horrible. But the code was pretty cool. Who was it by? Directed by Past Lives. It is a movie. Past Lives. Critically acclaimed. Okay, this is running. Okay, we are already on the next step. Okay. Creating files. Certificates are getting created. Problem till now. There should not be any problem. Okay, cool. And here, lives. This thing, 2023. This movie. Okay, shit. That is like very good. Perfection. 1 hour 46 minutes. Okay, add to watch later. Mocktail is cool. Okay, cool. Now this is assisting into the machine, getting the latest images, and will run the latest images. And I guess the good UI would be able to contact the backend and make a connection with the backend. Download complete. Go to UI latest. Okay, cool. Okay, that's very cool. That is very cool. Shit, is it? Walrus.codes. Enter. Start a blitz game. Okay, the game is started on my side but not on the other side yet. That is something which has to be fixed. But at least these are able to communicate with each other. Okay, cool. Q to exit. Cool. This is it. Walrus.codes and anything. This is it. Walrus.codes. Yep. Yep, there are bugs in the TUI. Yep, there are bugs in the TUI. The game just started somehow. Shit. The bugs have to be fixed, but at least the TY is able to talk to the backend. Okay, allow. And what is the backend URL? That is wrong. That is not the place where we want to go. Yep, that is not the place where we want to send the request. Docker file. We are building this. Start from Nginx for production. And here we are getting the build image. From front-end production, and front-end production is running this command run build production, and run build production builds for production. We do run build dev, this builds for dev, and if we do apps front-end distribution assets index .js, and here look for localhost. Yep, right now the URL is localhost 2000. But if we build for production and then look at the URL, shit, the name must be different. Apps front-end distribution assets. This one, Google. There is no localhost 2000 at least, but there would be backend. Yep, that is the URL which we should be seeing here, but instead of this backend URL for production, we are seeing localhost, which is wrong. We should not be seeing localhost. We should not be seeing localhost. We should not be seeing localhost. How long has it been? Just 2 hours. It feels very long somehow. GitHub workflows cd. We are building this front end here. Name, build and push, front end, Docker push, action with context, in current context. Target is Nginx production. Tag is this production. I guess we can test. We can go to SSH codes and sudo I docker exec interactive TTY with Nginx production server sh. Okay, we are in there, and here we have to check. That's what we have. cd app There's nothing here. Yep, we have to go to etc nginx ls. The files are, where are the, yes, let's see where are the files, where are we putting the files. In docker file. Yep. We define it in docker file where the files go, and the files are going to /app/infra cd/app does not exist. That is like shit. Yep, that is not the place. We are putting them into /var/www/default ls. We do have index.html here, and we just have index.html and nothing else. Literally nothing else. Why? We are putting it into default. Okay, makes sense. That is fine. We are putting the whole distribution into HTML. Yep. Here we do have the assets grep backend cat index. I can see, yep, and look for backend in this, and we do see backend somewhere. Look for backend sha.walrus.codes and nothing. Okay, backend sha.walrus.codes is not there. Walrus.codes is not here. Okay, but localhost is there. That would make sense. Yep, localhost 2222 is there. This is the production build. This is the production build. Why are we not getting the production URL? Docker build production nginx. Shit, and Docker is not running right now. Yep. Now build, but this would like fail. Fine, cool. Transferring context. One install is running. Cool. And what do I want to see with this? I want to see which URL are we getting for backend, because when we are running run build production, this command run build production, we are getting the correct URL locally, but yep, this one run build production, we are getting the correct URL, but We are not getting the correct URL otherwise. In the image, we do have the image. Docker run in interactive TTY mode. Entry point would be /bin/sh. We just want to SSH into the machine and grep for walrus.codes in the JavaScript file. Cool. We are inside cd/in var plus cd www cd html cd assets. Okay, very cool. Cat index c and grep for walrus.codes, and it is not here. Why? Even though we are running run build production, front-end production, run build production is what we are running. You're not getting the correct URL. Run build production. Nothing to commit. Run build production is working here correctly, but not here. Apps dist from front-end production. This also from front-end production. Front-end distribution. Shit. A when doing run build run build production locally, I am getting the correct env variables loaded up, but when doing the same, when building a Docker image using run build production, I am getting env dot development. To help you debug this, I need to understand your setup a little better. And what? How are you passing environment variables to Docker build? I am not passing environment variables. I am using Docker stage to Docker stage to define multiple images and then specifying the image using target. It helps. The core issue is almost certainly node environment isn't set during nope this run build step. I want to argue with this. Package.json. When run build happens, run this command run filter build production and inside app package.json byte build mode production when someone says build production. Okay. And if we change the build command in Docker file, run filter this run filter front end build dev. Okay, let's see now how it is. Build target production cool build production level engine already built. Okay, Docker run, yep, cool, and cd into var www, I think html, yep, assets cat index c, I think, yep, cool, and grep for WordPress dot codes, and still nothing, but we would see grep localhost // colon 2222. We do see, but walrus.codes is not there. Okay, and when we do this here, when build production and cat apps front end distribution assets index c index I, this thing, index I and grep rg. lot of codes. That is very long. That is very, very long. Walrus codes in this. Yep, somewhere the thing is there. Yep, I guess I will get back to this later. Right now, the good news is we can go to ach.walrus.codes and it works, which is pretty cool. We are just not getting the correct backend URL, the environment, which is something we have to fix. So for now, I guess that would be it. I will try to fix this. Yep, we will have to fix this somehow. But yep, for now, this would be it. And thank you for being here. Bye.